Yeah, much better. Don't have pain. When I clench, I feel resistance. And when they have your post out the 23rd. A week from Wednesday. 2 weeks. Do they want me to play? Keep clenching. Okay, let's shake hands with you. You know, wait. You see, a lot of big incision, right? Oh, you got the swell on this shit. Wait, a lot of what? That trigger finger, you know what trigger finger?
Yeah, you carry around a gun.
No, my finger got stuck. The tendon that goes through a sheath. You know what a sheath is? Like on a bicycle, you have a sheath over a cable. So the sheath got smaller, irritated the tendon got to develop the bone.
ברכה, ברוך אתה אדוני, ונאמר big girl. לחיים, stress. You got the good recipe.
Oh, bring it over.
Coming over.
No, the nuggets.
Special for you.
Oh my God. Ay.
Owen, you behave yourself, you get everything. You know that, right? You know what I mean, right?
Sure. 100%.
You know how long I know Owen? He used to eat in my house. And
I know you about 45 years, 40 years, 38, right?
you get
Great Parkway.
You get Batora. You do, you came to my house?
Sure did.
Yeah? I didn't know that.
Great Parkway, right?
Times, yeah.
Yeah? I was privileged to have everybody.
Hey, come with Bell. Remember Holy Brother?
Yeah.
Holy Brother Bell?
Yeah.
Knopfler.
Huh?
Velvo
Our
Knopfler.
favorite claim.
How are you doing, Robert?
Okay.
He called me one day, his father passed away. He told me, I want to make for my father in the show. They want $300, $400. Come to me. I made them such a beautiful shloshim.
Yeah.
Never forget in his life.
Well, I was thinking you had a Michoel, a very, very famous.
I had a lot of Michoel in my house. A lot of them. Baruch Hashem. Okay, let's get to Rabbi's drink.
I hope he's going to start soon because I have to leave in a few minutes. I have to. I don't know. Do I have to? Do I really have to? Oh,
Looking at Rabbi Shir.
You try to come in.
Michoel Shir is good.
Yeah, he's good.
Top of the notch. Don't leave.
no, because
He wants to leave.
Well, soon, so I no, but once you start, no, I'm not going to be able to leave up because it's going to be hard to walk
We
away.
love it so much.
Then people have times. Where were you? I thought you were supposed to be here.
I didn't hear about Mezonot. I didn't hear Mezonot. Why do you think I bring it to her in Brachot? You owe me one.
Oh, you Mizona.
He's a good
A
business.
lot of things you owe me.
When's the next Makuba coming over?
I have Rabbi Avir Yaakov coming very soon.
You're staying by your house?
No room, but I tried to get him place. He's coming with his wife and 2 kids. He's staying here for a year. He's going to
He's a
start like Masbia, but in a different way.
In Halachos?
He want me to be in charge.
Oh, Chazak Baruch. Yes, do it.
I need 50 hours a week. I don't have 24 hours. I do so many things. I can't.
Well, right now we're involved still with no.
I don't that with a lot of things.
Well, wait, is Mendy still going on there? No, that's just
It's close.
Mendy's
wow.
Huh? Oh well.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו.
Amen.
Amen. That's beautiful. So he's looking for a place, or he already has a place.
I have a few places for him, but they want too much money. He has a Kehila from Borough Park sponsor him. So somebody's working on all the paper.
A Sephardi killer?
No, Hasidish.
What kind of like whatever?
Hasidish.
Bells, Bob, Satmer.
A woman that he's dealing with him for a lot of years. I introduced him. Her brother is has a Kehila.
Oh, Chassidus.
So they're working later. Different thing.
His
You
father-
need it here.
The Sadi?
She not. She Ashkenaz.
But he, Abir Yaakov, well, what does Abir mean?
You know who's Rabbi Yaakov? The grandfather of the Rabbi Sadi. His name is Rabbi Yaakov. So this rabbi, about 50 years ago, Rabbi Yaakov, his name is Yaakov something, came to him in the dream, tell him, call yourself Rabbi Yaakov. I give you for my koyach to go all over the world to change things. Since then, he does.
He'll give us a bracha.
He give brachos. You see,
Man,
you write your
yeah.
name and you see things that you.
Yeah.
He was in my house one Friday night. And a few people was
We mean here or?
here.
Yeah.
Here was a lot of time, but there, when you. And somebody told him, "Can you give me some?" He said, "Shabbat. I can. You have to write it down, but give me your name." So he gave him his name. Told his wife. I haven't heard. Told him 18 years ago, we almost got married.
Almost got what?
18 years ago, exactly in this week, almost got married. The guy almost fell down. I said, nobody knew. Exactly, make a husband 18 years.
Yes.
This is a Michoel. Nice and cool.
Thank you.
Well, I'm shocked when
You
you
read Hebrew good? You read Hebrew very good? I mean, you can hear?
What do you mean?
If somebody speaks to you
Oh, maybe.
Hebrew, yeah.
Hebrew, if you can understand, I'm going to send you.
Come around. I'd like to see you
When I
around.
was in Israel,
We can schmooze a little bit.
Good question. I'm saying bring a punch in the
You
middle.
were
of the
both you were
Name
speaking
to
about
me.
another
That's what the rabbi's question.
I asked Michoel.
that my daughter's friend,
We'll find out. Well,
she's involved in an organization that do barbecue.
all the lake. It's all his fault.
They needed
You,
40
I'm blaming it on you.
I was one of the people, my wife, and
It's his fault.
doing things there, and I see.
Yeah, but I told the rabbi, I don't have.
Your daughter asked you to
Emotion.
speak.
Because you should be somewhere else soon, so I don't know what to do.
You used to be a
I might very not even walk away. We can say, we're
I thought that, hey,
Yeah, but.
you want to be a student. So,
Oh.
in the 70s, I
Wait,
for dinner.
Finish next one?
Moshe Dayan.
Wow.
So can you speak to my soldier?
Okay, bracha, well, answer me. He said bracha, he did good bracha.
Oh, man.
Yeah, 2 minutes later, he called me. Standing up in front of 400 soldiers. Say, Hashem,
Wow.
up to you.
I made a speech.
I'm going to send it to you. You will enjoy it. I send it to Rabbi Cyril. Ashreich. The spirit of the moment. You have to know what to say. No?
Yeah.
How was your dinner today?
Good.
Good?
Yeah, you did very good dinner.
I bet I know what you got.
What?
I know what you had.
Sure. You're the one who gave me the dinner.
Oh,
I was learning with somebody. It came in with food.
Here.
Yeah. Learning a second set, afternoon.
like both of them. They're learning Torah, so they need some physical food.
He gave me some gasoline. He gassed me up a little bit. You know what I mean?
So now you can learn Torah now.
100%.
How are you? Good evening. Okay, now, say we're allowed to start.
We're learning inside or
We're
outside?
Hamish enough. So we're going to learn inside, but one
What
siman
kind
I'm
of-
going, this is the
Can we get to
Shulchan Aruch of the Alter Rebbe here.
Can you bring the shit? No.
And however, there is a siman which is missing.
Come, we'll learn together.
I'm gonna talk about it outside from the first siman. We're gonna talk about outside.
1 second. Please, everybody, close the phone.
Oh, yeah, right. That's good. Keep forgetting.
We're gonna start by the first page. Tafkuf Pei Beis.
Where?
Page Aleph. Page Aleph. That's the easy one.
Right on the first page. Oh. I thought you were looking at Mr.
So
Brewer.
before we do page Aleph, we're gonna do something before page Aleph, which is not in the Shulchan Aruch Harav. Shulchan Aruch Harav is missing certain parts, and he's missing the first siman of Hilchos Rosh Hashanah, Shetavkuf Pei Aleph. I'm going to now read it over from the Mishabura outside from the Mechaber. Just going to outside give over the short siman. Some things are said in that siman. It's a short siman.
Why is it missing? What happened to it? Something.
There was a lot of fires those days. Fires. It was never printed. The Shulchan Aruch Alter was not printed in his lifetime.
No.
Many manuscripts were around, but it wasn't published. A lot of copies, handwritten copies. It was only published 3 years after his Halachos, by his children published it. Then it's in a book form, it remains. But it was a manuscript form. Those days, villages would go up on fire. It was the whole village went. That's what it was. Many things were lost.
And how many things
you
are
have
lost?
anything.
And they had not only were things so flammable then, the materials that homes were made out of, extremely flammable. And there was obviously no sprinkler systems or fire extinguishers, but also there was no fire department really. So the fire department was what? They had some horses and they got some water, some pails, so you couldn't really stop fires. It was very...
I had a range cut.
Madach now, with all the modern technology, they can't stop all these fires. What you hear in California,
They have
and other
helicopters
places.
with the fire.
Well, they're in wildlife.
Very, very difficult for
forest.
them. Hundreds of thousands of acres of places are destroyed, and people have to flee. I was once, many years ago, I would say 20 years ago, I was in San Diego, California, and earlier there was this huge fire there. They built a new Chabad shul there, a school actually, a huge school, San Diego, a huge campus.
Who is the rabbi?
Very Fratkin, a huge campus, brand new, and the fire was coming. And the fire came and surrounded the entire school. No one was there, but the school, beautiful, brand new campus.
Wow.
I don't know if it was even used yet, or just
Totally destroyed.
And when we came for Shabbos there to visit, and we saw all around, everything was charred. The fire stopped right by the school. Right by the school, everywhere was charred all around. This is California. They have fires and fires.
Yeah.
Because of fires, communities actually change because people have to rebuild in different places, relocate. So I was speaking to someone recently. He says, "Yeah, the community changed. People are live in a different area now due to fire." Anyways, those days villages went up on fire, so they were very common. There were unfortunately manuscripts of the Alter Rebbe that were burned, and maybe something will resurface one day, a copy. Akopanim, the Mechaber in Shulchan Aruch says in Tafkuf Pei Aleph, which we're going to do about Peh, that the minig is to get up, noyagim lakum bashmoides loy meslichis tachnonim mirosh Hashanah ve'el ve'elach, to get up in the morning, shmoides habayker,
Sfaradim
to
do.
say slichis,
They used to get up 4 o'clock in the morning.
till Yom Kippur, 40 days. 40 days. Now this is the Mechaber. Sfaradim follow the Mechaber. Rabbi Yosef Cairo. Yosef said, 40 days you should get up.
40 days before Yom Kippur.
Right?
Yeah.
Which basically is the 40 last days that Moshe Rabbeinu was on the mountain to get the second Luchos. Was from Rosh Chodesh Elul to Yom Kippur. That's the significance in history of this time period. Why is this time period of Chalal a time of Slicha Mechila? Because these are the 40 days that Moshe received the first Slicha Mechila for Klal Yisrael. And when did Hashem say, Salachti Kidvarecha?
On Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur.
That's why we have Yom Kippur then.
So Yom Kippur is the day of Yom Slicha Mechila. Hashem said this day and on should always be a day. This is the day. This is the Sukkah of Slicha Mechila. So that the Sfaradim say this is a serious time. Every morning they get up. However, the Ramah says, Moshe says, "O minig b'nei Ashkenaz einei kein." The Ashkenazim don't do that.
Why?
You know, the Ashkenazim like to sleep.
You
Ela meirei shchodesh.
made this man happy.
Hey, listen, you can always join us.
Only Ashkenazim can make fun of Ashkenazim. It's not allowed.
I had something better. Somebody told me, how come Sfaradim get up 40 days at Slichot Ashkenazim the last week?
The last week.
He said, we don't have so many Averos. You guys have so many Averos.
I think that's probably the reason.
So listen what I answered. I said, because you have so much Averos, we're getting up earlier for you. He said, you're a smart Sfaradim. He said, he got me.
So what is the Ramah right? That's not the minig Ashkenaz. What is the minig in Ashkenaz? It's like this. Ela merish chodesh ve'elech maschil l'tkoyach at tefillah shachris. Start to blow shofar after shachris. V'yesh v'koymish shetoikin gankim b'arvis. Some places even blow
Even
Nobody is.
the mincha. The Svardim, when do they blow shofar? From the beginning of Elul?
Yeah, of course.
From the beginning of Elul.
We do also 3 Hatarat Nedarim. You guys do only one.
What do you do?
We do Rosh Chodesh Elul in the middle somewhere and Erev Yom Kippur.
Now, it said that in the morning, however, Ashkenazim do get up, starting from the Sunday, Matzah Shabbos, before Rosh Hashanah, we do get up and say Slichas early. Now, we want to be able to have a full week of Slichas. So in order to accomplish that, what we do is, we go back a week earlier sometimes, depending. Let's say Rosh Hashanah falls out on
Wednesday.
right. So then it falls on Monday or Tuesday, and we go to the week before.
Monday, Tuesday.
Starts say more slichas that we start on Matzoi Shabbos, which is Sunday.
Oh,
We do Sunday,
yeah, a little bit more.
and right because we want to start from the beginning of the week.
The shul.
When is Rosh
So what do they do from the beginning?
When is Rosh Hashanah this year? Anyone knows?
Sunday.
Sunday this year?
Sunday night?
Eretz.
I think Sunday night.
Rosh
Sunday
Hashanah
night.
this year.
Sunday nights. We have some. Definitely, we're going to be reading the previous week. Right? Now, an Avel, Rahman al-Sana Avel during Shiva, he's not allowed to leave his house to go to shul to hear slichas. Besides, for Erev Rosh Hashanah, we have a lot of extra slichas, then the Avel is allowed to come to shul. And in general, we should take for slichas and for Yom Neroim, we should choose Shliach Tzibur that's most appropriate and the greatest in Torah and Ma'asim Tovim that you could find. He should also be preferably 30 years old at least. Should also be married. However, Kol Yisrael Ksherim him. As long as they're Marutza Lakal, as long as the community wants them. But if they daven by force their way that they have to be the Chazan, Ein Oiden Achrav Amen. Don't answer Amen. After someone who forces his way to the Amid. And as well, the person needs to be, the Chazan needs to be mighty everyone in the crowd. What happens if he has an enemy in the crowd and he has in mind, I'm not being mighty him? Says that even his friends are not yoitz with his tefillah. Even his friends are not yoitz with such an individual who doesn't want to be mighty soynei. This time of the year, you have to be Michoel.
Why the friend has to suffer because of that? If I don't want to,
We should know that you don't put because you don't want to because you don't want to take care of your friend. You don't care that your friend is not being yoitz to the tefillah. He says to him, "I'm not being yoitz to you. I don't like you. I have issues with you during the year. You're sitting next to me. We're bickering a lot. I'm not being yoitz. I'm not being yoitz. You go to another shul." The other chavedim can't say, "Oh, okay, let him go to the other shul, but we're going to be yoitz." No. He's not yoitz. You're not yoitz. Gam oyavov einam yoitz in the tefillah. Some places have the minig that the one who davens slichis also davens the rest of the tefillahs of that day. Shachris, mincha, I don't think that's our minig.
I don't see it.
No.
No, I haven't seen that yet.
Huh? Rabbi?
What?
Is that an Ashkenaz shul?
Yeah, Nick tells me then regular people. Whoever does it.
I was going down to
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if there's not a thing.
Oh, wow. That's a doozy. That's what it brings down in the suburban that also. Even if there's a regular chiyuv, the person who is saying slichas is not a chiyuv.
Person is saying slichis. There is a meaning in certain makaimis that he should daven all the other tefillahs of that day before the Amid.
Even if
Including Marvin.
even if it's a chiyuv.
Even the chiyuv.
That's a doozy. He's not a
Well,
chiyuv, but he.
no, we don't follow. It's not our minig, but he's pointing out that there are some shuls that do have this minig. It's probably an
I think
Ashkenaz.
across the street.
Shul that has Ashkenaz minhagim,
I think across the
strictly
street,
Ashkenaz
at
minhagim.
Rabbi comes,
Maybe.
they're very masculine these days.
Wow.
How and the ma'ase is the machlokes where you're asking menegea chiyuv. If someone has a yard site, who comes first? So the Magen Avraham holds that for this reasoning, the Baal Slichis is koydim to the oval and to the Baal HaYard site, because Tefillah is totally in the Ratzon HaKol, and the Kol's minig is at least Mekoimis to have the Baal Slichis adav.
Oh,
So he's doich everyone else.
wow.
However, other poskim, the Ilya Rabbah, argue is mefakfik on the Magen Avraham shita, and he says
What's
If-
Mesupik, right?
not the supik. He
mefakfik means-
disagrees, but
Disagree. Oh, I can't.
they're not so simple.
Yeah, the word.
And he holds that a Baal HaYartz is fasting on the day of his yard site. Many people have the minhag to fast on the day of the yard site, so he should go to the Amid over the Baal HaSlichis.
He doesn't know how to
No, you
sing.
can't push him
He
away.
doesn't have. He doesn't have a good coil.
Now, what about someone who's in the year? He's a chiyuv of the year. He's davening because it's in the Yud base
You'd be straight.
in the Faidish. And from Lamanatseach and on, the ending of davening, you should allow him to daven.
Wait, from
The Baal
from
HaSlichis.
Lamanatseach?
Yeah.
No, let's say a con. Yeah, that makes sense.
Now,
Well, that's what Minhag gets. Yeah, it's very common.
now. Furthermore, there is a minig to fast. The Mechaber says on Erev Rosh Hashanah. Some people fast also. The Mishabura points out them to fast on the first day of Slichus. The Magen Avraham said that even the Tinoikis fast on Erev Rosh Hashanah. What does that mean, the Tinoikis? So the Mishabura explains he doesn't mean to say literally children. The Magen Avraham meant to say even those that are just bar mitzvah and bas mitzvah, they're youngsters, they also should fast on Erev Rosh Hashanah.
Some people hold this,
I don't know today. If
We don't
it's
hold.
like this way. Oh,
Erev Rosh Hashanah?
Yeah, till we took Chatzais when we had the whatever.
so
Chatzais, I think.
Could be having
Yeah, I
the
mean- Yeah, yeshivas, but I don't know if everybody does it. But yeshivas took Chatzais.
I see.
you don't read Vayichal on this fast. You don't read Vayichal. Now, these fasts, you don't need to complete the fast, the Ramah says.
You talking about Erev Rosh Hashanah now?
Yeah, you don't need to complete the fast, it says. Doesn't say exactly what does it mean not to complete. But he said you don't have to complete the fast. Now, no. Ein tzarech lahashlim. Here means don't have to complete it.
And also, if a person didn't make the day before Kabbalah, they want to do it that day. Because normally we have to make
You don't have to make a Kabbalah,
something
right?
like that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Now, he points out interesting, there was a minig of many to eat out of Rosh Hashanah before Alois HaShachar. Many people would eat. Meaning they would eat before davening, before Alois HaShachar.
Why?
Why would they do this? Because Goyim had a custom. Goyim have one of their rules are that they fast for their Yom Tov.
They do. What?
At least those days.
What?
Uh-huh.
So the Chukas Ha'akum, the Ramah says, was that they were noig lisanis be'erev chageya. So therefore, many have the minute to dafke eat before Alois HaShachar. The Mishabura points out today the oilam does not eat, but they drink coffee or tea before they go to shul, meaning before Alois HaShachar.
But if they're not going to be fasting, or they're going to do only for chatzai, so that's the time there.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Then
Yeah.
they wouldn't have to,
Now, on Erev Rosh Hashanah, we don't say tachnun. So even though early morning when you're saying slichis, you do, but the whole day you don't say tachnun. Now, most of the times he says in Mishabura, you finished slichis before Aleis HaShachar. So therefore, you say tachnun. You say tachnun because it's not yet the Erev Rosh Hashanah Mamish, the day of Erev Rosh Hashanah. Even though if the slichus went past into the day, into after Aleis HaShachar, you still say tachnun because the takana was to say tachnun by slichus and not say tachnun the rest of the day. Since originally that's the way it was set up, even though it's v'poil nimshachim to the yoyim, out of Shoshana you don't say tachnun, you do say tachnun. And the rest of the day you don't say tachnun. Shachris you don't say tachnun.
the places where they have minyanim one after the other, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 10 o'clock, you say sleepers. And 9 o'clock, they start saving substances.
Looks funny, huh?
But yeah, okay.
Yeah. Now, furthermore, although we said before we blow Tekias every day of Elul and Minig, but not Erev Rosh Hashanah. The reason for this is to make a hefsek between the Tekias of Rishus and the Tekias of Choiva. Now, however, according to this reasoning, you'll be allowed to blow the practice. Or just shul should stop blowing, but people can practice. However, in Menachem, meaning in the Sefer Menachem, Rabbi means in the Menachem of Rabbi Isaac Tirna, says the reason is to confuse the Satan when is Rosh Chodesh, when is Rosh Hashanah. According to that reason, you shouldn't blow at all, even if you're practicing.
Oh wow!
It brings from the Elul Rabbah. Says that if you're doing to practice, you could do it only in a closed room with no one around.
You mean the
I
Satan?
think he writes that you could do it in the mikveh. No one's in the mikveh during the day.
So who's the Sultan then?
Wait,
So where's the Sultan?
He doesn't come to the
the sun shouldn't hear, or maybe other people shouldn't.
I
hear.
never understood that.
Which one is it?
It's practicing.
It's too much.
The Rebbe has a sikha wants to discuss about these. What's pshat la'arv v'satan? Many times say la'arv v'satan, but the satan's such a fool.
Such a smart man.
Such a fool. He's a malach. He's a malach. He knows what's happening.
And he's doing it for thousands of years. He knows exactly where to go and when to go.
He says like this. The basic gist of it, I don't remember the details, but I remember saw it years ago. I think we one time learned it here together years ago. The Rebbe's like this. The Sultan knows what's happening. But the point is, when we do certain things, the Sultan sees how we're mechav mitzvahs, so this confuses him, meaning it makes it difficult for him to bring up his tainus before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because we're doing so many different things, so this makes it for him, makes his job difficult. How could he come before like for example, it says that on Rosh Hashanah we blow 2 times. It said why do we blow twice? La'arv v'satan. And we have a musif, satan, which is the ikr tefillah of Rosh Hashanah. Satan should be all confused. So what's pshat? So the Rebbe says that pshat is that based on other svarim, that the Satan doesn't have what to say when Yidden are going the extra mile to go in here make a second set of Tekias. So what could be his tainus? Abel says, look at my Amisra, look how much they go and do for me. There's live of a Satan. So the Satan vase, there was a helfnish. The pile the Klal Yisrael is following through. And they're going extra beyond the letter of the law to do all these common zachen. No, it's pile.
I don't need to watch it, Trevor. I got used to
Okay, so another thing.
I'm not happy then. So what? How is he answering how confusing the sun.
Quite confusing, was keeping them quiet. Doesn't have a timer.
If there's no shofar being blown, then.
No shofar being blown means that the Yidden feel that we're 100% confident
Oh, wow.
that we're Zeiche B'din. So
Wow.
this
Wow.
that we're so clear on it. I think that's the Rebbe has been a gay Erev Shoshan. He goes to a few things of La'av V'Satan.
Wow.
A few times when you find different dinim based on La'av V'Satan. It's the chib of mitzvah. I think he's medayik in a Rashi somewhere that there's a chib of mitzvah. That's ma'av V'Satan. As well, it says that Erev Shoshana we wash ourselves, we take a haircut. And why do we do that? To show that we're batuach and chazdei shakadosh baruch Hu, that he's going to be mezakos b'din. However, still in all, it should not be like a festive day, like a Yom Tif, where we forget that it's Yom Adin. So you shouldn't wear like silk clothing, and you should you should wear clean, nice clothing, but not too festive. Well, not such chashav a clothing. There's also a minig that Ramah brings. Some have a minig to go to the mikveh Erev Shoshana because of keri. Some also have a minig to go on the dinner to a Beis HaKvaris, and over there to do a lot of say sliches and to give tzedakah to aniyim.
This minhag is everybody wants to. A lot of people.
Right. And why does he? Mishabur says, why do we go to the Beis HaKvaris? Because the Beis HaKvaris is a place of Mokim Menuchas HaTzadikim. This is the resting spot of Tzadikim, and the tefillas are more makubal over there. However, a person shouldn't think that he's davening to the Mason. He's asking for Hashem Yisbarach. And he should give him Rachamim b'schos the Tzadikim, which are here in this spot.
All the Mason are called tzaddikim?
No.
So,
But there are tzaddikim. In the Beis HaKvaris, every Beis HaKvaris has a tzaddik. Some tzaddikim there. And you know where the tzaddik is, you go to the tzaddik. So
if you don't know, somebody there.
go to the aisle.
Go to the aisle. It's a full house there.
That's true.
You can't get in.
That's true. So Chabad goes to the oil. That's a very big thing.
Internet.
Now they're having a better system where things go quicker, the lines.
Yeah.
Erev Shoshana. Erev Shoshana, it's a formal minik Chabad. The Rebbe would go, all the Chassidim, everyone would go to the oil.
Erev should be a week before Shoshana or 2 weeks.
If you can't make an Erev Shoshana, you go before. Some people do. It's too much for them. They live out of town, or it's hard from the lines. So they go earlier.
I went 4 years ago. I was waiting 3 hours. Make you 10.
Ever done them? Wow.
Can't get in.
You're not supposed to go twice to the same caver. It says if Mishabur brings it, doesn't say the source for this, it's from Yehuda Chassid. There's an Inyan not to go to the same caver twice in the same day. You went once, you went. You don't go back.
To the same cater, but
Same cater.
different cater.
Different caver. Not to the,
Well, what prayers do you make over there?
there is a special thing where when you go to tzaddikim, they have something called Maina Lashon, which you say such a nusach about schus tzaddikim, shoychim payin. There's various mizmorei tehillim that you say. It's classical tefillas that have been for generations been said by kibei tzaddikim.
We can get a copy of that.
And you
They have at the oil. They have them there, and the other
You
places.
can make bakashas. You can petition.
They have
needs.
yeah, you can write a zettel. You write a zettel.
What?
Some tehillims have it in the back. Okay, so there you have it. But I think now they made things quicker. I see lately the lines they just push people. They don't let you stand and they make you go.
But
Walk.
at least they give you a TV there to watch the Rebbe talking. They don't do it on TV.
Okay, so Rabbi say that's the simon that we're missing. And now we're going to open up to the first simon, which is we actually this is about before Rosh Hashanah, Elul, Erev Rosh Hashanah, Tavkum Beis. We actually start Aseres Yimei Tshuva. The first thing you have to know during Aseres Yimei Tshuva, Rosh Hashanah is one of the Aseres Yimei Tshuva.
Yeah.
Shana and Yom Kippur are part of the Aseres Yimei Tshuva. So there's special things that change in Shemon Esrei. Instead of saying a Kela Kaddish, we say a Melech HaKadosh. Instead of Melech HaTzdaka Mish, we say a Melech HaMishpat. So what are those halachas? Chav Kufei Beis say the Tfilas Erev Aseres Mitzvah Rosh Hashanah Bo Yud Zayin Sif. Kol Hashanah Adam Mispala Kela Kaddish bebracha Gimel. Melech Oiv Tzedaka Mishpat bebracha Yud Aleph. Chutz me'asara Yom Shebel Hashanah Yom Kippurim shebehen tzalei me'hamelech HaKadosh hamelech HaMishpat. Why? Sheyam halolo HaKadosh Baruch Hu mare malchusei lishpeitas ha'olam. Now what happens if you make a mistake? Im tov ha'amar HaKel HaKadosh. Or Yishum Supak, or he's doubtful. Im amar Melech HaKadosh. Either you didn't, or you're in doubt if you did. Both cases, the halacha is the same. If you remember it after the time frame that it takes to ask your Rebbe Shalom, give him Shalom. You say Shalom Alecha Rebbe. Shalom Alecha Rebbe. So after that time period, you can't make it up. You can't correct yourself. Definitely in a case of Miskala Acha Shehisla, if you started already the next bracha of Atachoinen, you went into the fourth bracha, then you definitely tzarech lachzol l'reish hatfila. Now, why do you have to go back to the beginning? To go back to Atakodesh, this bracha.
Yeah, why have to go to
like the din is in Michoel and brachas. Anytime you make a mistake in a certain bracha Shemon you go back to the beginning of that bracha. However, over here, you go back to the beginning of Shemon.
Why is that?
Shalish brachas yishoynos chashuvos kav. They're considered one unit. Sif Beis. If you remind yourself before you said Shalom Alecha Rebbe, you said Akel HaKadosh, and right away you remind yourself of Akel Amelech HaKadosh. And Oimer Amelech HaKadosh, Vein is so that's either as if you said it regular. The same halacha is that you can make it up if you remember within the Shir of Shalom Alecha Rebbe. However, Amelech HaMishpat is different if you did not remember within the time frame. In the time frame, you could make it up. After the time frame, it's different in regards to going back to the beginning of the
What's the remedy?
You anyways mentioned Malchus. Melech So you did mention Hashem's a Melech. That is one shita in Rishonim. How are Yeshem other Rishonim say, the Rambam and others? In Niska Kodesh Sin Tfilah say, no, Faisal Roish Berchas Hashiva. You got to go back to the beginning of Berchas Hashiva, Sheftenu.
What's the Shasim Tfilah? That's the Oshman Esrei.
Even if you didn't. I don't know why he doesn't say the example in the middle of Shemon Esrei. I'm sorry. No.
What does it mean?
No.
What? And Niska comes to see him through loss. Where did he remember?
He remembered. If he remembers before he finished Shemon Esrei, anytime after the Shir of Kedei Shilo Shalom Rabbi,
and he remembered.
He remembered either right away or in a later bracha. He remembered.
He goes back to
Hashiva. According to the Rambam. And it's the same halacha like a Melech HaKadosh, basically. This Rambam holds that it's the same din. However, the first sheet is Rabbi Yoin and the Torah, they'll know. HaMelech HaMishpat is different because you already mentioned Melech HaKadosh. See if you could correct yourself right away within the Shir, Kedei Shir, Shalom Rabbi. Good. If not, it's finished. You don't go back. It's not Ma'akiv, it's not Likuva. The Rambam says, no, it's just like a Melech the same din like a Melech HaKadosh. No difference.
Well, will you go back to the stanza?
You got to go back. So by Ata Kodesh, it happens to be you made a mistake. Melech HaKadosh, you got to go back to the beginning because they're all Shuvas Ka'achat.
Yeah,
Shiva is not considered a Ka'achat.
So you go back to a Shiva.
Go back to the beginning of a Shiva and say it again properly. Now, what is the reason behind this sheet of the Rambam? Shemiyesh hefresh bein Melech Yitzchak Mishpat laHamelech HaMishpat. B'chol Hashana Tzedakah Iker. We want Hashem's tzedakah, not mishpat. We're looking for Hashem's handout, right? Havayama lo hamishpat iker.
Ah.
Lekach ein
Maskin
maskin
stuck
stuck
klal.
klal. Not a time for stuck now. Mishpat. What do we do lahalacha? Machloik is
We always
Yishayna.
ask for Matan
Machloik is Yishayna. What do we do?
But Mike was saying, well, that's what we're Michoel. You are saying.
Right. So that's the first shita. The Rambam says no, because Melech is the ikr to the point that you cannot mention tzedakah.
The Rambam is.
Ule'inyan halacha safik brachas lahakel. Whenever we come to brachas, we're cautious not to say a bracha if we know definitely have to say it, because it could come under the rubric of the third of the Saras Adibis, L'sis Hashem Elekech Al Hashav. We don't want to say Hashem's name for no reason. So we're very machmir this, even though in Hadin it's not mamish l'shav because you're saying it again with a bracha. You're not just saying Hashem's name. You're benching him in Mishabeach Hashem. You're saying a bracha. That's not mamish a bracha l'atala. However, we're very machmir with this, and therefore, whenever we have a suffix in the bracha, we don't say the bracha. So therefore, what can you do? Leficha, therefore, in this Kekayim saying Tfilah, say, if you remember before you finish Menachem, ain't a last of Berachas Hashiva. Shivarach Safik Bracha L'Atala. It's a Safik whether or not you said a Bracha L'Atala. Avol La'achash Aka Raglav, I have an Eitzah for you. So the Alter Rebbe, after you took your 3 steps back, to go back in middle of Shemon Esrei to a Shiva. It could be you're saying all these brachas now for no reason from a Shiva until then Shemon Esrei, all brachas about Safek brachas about that we don't want to get into. You finish Shemon Esrei, now you have another option. Option is called Teres Adav. What is Teres Adav? Adav means like this. We know the karbanis, the tefillas connected to midin tikun. Chazal set up that the tefillas can respond to the 2 karbanis that were one that was brought in the early morning, Shachris and Mincha. Taman shel Shachar, Taman shel Ben Habayim. That we read every day before Mincha, before Shachris, the karbanis. And Ma'ariv is connected the pedarim and the sitting on and getting on the fire all night. That's why Ma'ariv originally was a reshus. Klal used to took it upon themselves a favor. That's a Yanei Chiyuv. But remember, by Karbanis is also sold in the Dava. Torah clearly tells us you're allowed to bring the Davas to Hashem. I want to bring in the Dava. You can bring the carbon the Dava on the Mizbeach. It's not Chul and Lazara. It's in the Dava to Hashem. You can bring as many Davas as you want. You can sit a whole day bring the Davas to Hashem. You have your Chayva and then you have your Nadava. So you finish Shemon Esrei, you did your Chiyuv, but you're not sure maybe your Chiyuv
was done correctly.
Was not good because according to the Rambam it's no good, but according to other Rishonim it is good. You could daven again. I'm in a dava. I want to give Abish. I want to give you a dava. I'm daven again. Another Shemon Esrei. It's not a bracha batal or a sabbath batal because I'm davening a full Shemon Esrei as a Torah dava. I'm bringing you Hashem on the dava. What did happen to you, Abish? So
why can't we do it on Shabbos? If Shabbos we can't do it. Well, why not?
Shabbos we don't bring the davas.
Oh.
You can give Nedava in the middle of Shemon Esrei? Why you have to?
Hey, it's a good one. I like
That's a
that.
good question.
That's a bomb. What did you just say? That's good.
Now,
That's very good.
by the way, the din Allah of the dava is that you don't have to mechadish, and usually when you say it feels the dava, it's not appropriate to just say one Shemon Esrei after another. You have to show that there was a reason, a valid reason why you're repeating Shemon Esrei. So you're supposed to mechadish in the tefillah, say something new tefillah, add in some words of extra tefillah, because there's a reason and cause why you davened again. That's normally the case for the tefillah sadava. But in this case, where there's a suffix, and maybe you really had to read it to say over Shemon Esrei, you don't need to do that chiddush. So he says over here, Ein etzarich lischadish badavar, right before Sif Gimel, Kivin Shemispalo is a machmas hasafik. You don't need to say it again. You know, Rabbi Yochanan, the Gemara says, Rabbi Yochanan said, Halavai, Shispal Adam Kol Hayom Kulei. A person, Halavai, Spal all whole day. Why do we not do Tfilah Tzareh Sadava in general? Tfilah Sadava? Reason is because when you say Tefillas Adava, you're supposed to have kavanah throughout the whole Shemoneh Esrei. Because if you daven your chayva and you didn't have kavanah, it's a problem. But you were chayiv to daven, so how can we blame you? You had to daven and then you didn't have kavanah.
Oh.
But you want to dive into the Eibishter Tfilas Nadava. You're saying, Eibishter, I love you so much, I'm a daven again. And then you don't have Kavanah. So therefore, in general, we don't encourage, because Manenu, already earlier Paskin bring up this issue, we don't encourage davening Tfilas Nadava. Over here, it could be different because there's a suffix whether or not you should, possibly, you should say over the whole Shemoneh Esrei according to the Shita of the Ram. But in general, we don't encourage people to stand daven again and again Shemoneh Esrei because you're not able to help cup. You're not able to help cup. So the eitzes, daven slower and to do other eitzes, but you don't have the eitzes.
That answer his question?
So how come if somebody forgot Shmoneh Esrei and Shachrit, make Shachrit second,
Two mitzvahs.
mincha, second mincha? Somebody forgot.
Right. That's tashlumin. That is chayiv to make up. He's a chiyuv, not nadava. It's chiyuv. If it's a chiyuv, we're not so worried.
You missed the whole chayiv.
You missed the whole
The
chayiv.
whole thing.
You could do a tashlumin to the immediate tefillah you missed. You can't do a tashlumin for 2 tefillahs earlier. Let's say you weren't feeling well. You were in bed. You were feeling well. Somehow you forgot to daven. But then you could daven the next tefillah. You daven 2 tefillahs. The first tefillah is the ikar tefillah. The second tefillah is the Geder Tashlumin.
But his question, he said, no, the first.
A dava is only a full nadav, full Shemoneh Esrei. Not in the middle.
Oh, that was a good help.
Siv Gimel. We know when it comes to Masha Baruch Omeir HaGeshem, that there's a concept of saying something 90 times. We used to have a Yid over here. What was his name again? Sat over here.
David Gottlieb.
David Gottlieb. He should be gesund. Where is he?
He's in Israel.
He's in Israel
My
now?
sister. Yeah.
Sister, you in touch with him? You wish him good Shabbos?
It's very hard.
Hard to get through to
I
him.
called a million times, doesn't answer. But I know he told me go to Capoeira to his sister.
He's thrilled over copy.
He was telling us how he heard that he heard in Europe, maybe from his uncle of his or something, great uncle, that some communities had this minig, where Shmini Atzeres, Simchas Torah, is when you start saying Shmini Atzeres, you start saying Masha Baruch Omeir HaGeshem, right? So by Hakofis, they had this type of niggin that they would say Masha Baruch Omeir HaGeshem. As they were going around to that kofis, the niggin, it managed to say it 90 times that they were going around. And now, if you have a suffix, did I say Masha Baruch Omeir HaGeshem or not? You're soymech that you must probably say Masha Baruch because you already taught yourself. Because remember, it takes a month for you to get used to something. A month means 3 tefillas a day. 3 times 30 is 90. Over here, you have 90 and 1, so they had this Sazan Niggin that they went around and said Masha Baruch. But it's not such a big deal for those that say Moedir Hatol. Ashkenazim don't say Moedir Hatol during the summer. But those that say Moedir Hatol, but the Evid, if you didn't say Masha Baruch, you yoitz with Moedir Hatol. So anyways, if you didn't say Masha Baruch, you're obviously said Moedir Hatol. Because you said one or the other. But the Evid, you yoitz. But those that don't, the Ashkenazim, who keep it Hagi Ashkenaz, they don't say anything B'mei HaKayitz. Only B'mei HaChodev, because that's, they say Masha Baruch.
Yaakov's first night, they was singing Leila, 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 and he had the Nishkachaf.
And the Eis Hashem Haisa.
Had a friend in the Shiva, and they had some type of nigga. No, you just say,
Masha Baruch. They had a nigga.
I heard all saying starting Mahatma Gibar, Masha Baruch.
Omeir HaGeshem. You're going to have
when they go back, it was the end words before Masha Baruch and it was after Masha Baruch.
So now you're going to have one of the Jewish superstars that's probably going to make a song. Masha Baruch Omeir HaGeshem.
Yeah, get that nigga. It's all to MBD.
So
I think Chaim Berlin is the Chaim Berlin say or it's called, don't they?
Yes.
Chaim Berlin say yes.
So Lamaisa, this does not work. The eights of saying something 90 times does not work by Hamelech HaKadosh Hamelech Mishra. Why not? Siv Gimel. Him Amar Tzadik Pa'amim Barach Hata Hashem Melech HaKadosh Barach Hashem Melech HaMishpad. ואחר כך נסתפק לו בתפילה עם אמר המלך הקודש, אף וכן צריך לחזור לראש לדברי הכל. You have to go back to the beginning according to all opinions. והנה דומה למה שנסבר בסימן ק"ד, regarding מה שרוח מן הגשם, because the kan kiven shener ashoy loimer Hashem kikiyasei shebrach latala and came back tefillah kishaoimers Hashem kikiyasei who choyz limudi. You go back to what you used to loimer kelakadosh. Because when you say Baruch Atah Hashem, you say Hashem. You don't say the Abish's name because you can't say that. You're practicing the 90 times. But so when you can actually say Hashem's name, we're concerned that you're going to just go back to what you're usually used to saying, which is Akel HaKadosh. So the 90 times does not work.
Yeah. Doesn't work
over here.
Oh, so even if they say I have to give them Hashem,
Also, you won't say the same of Hashem of Vayel. Say Hashem. Have you do it 90 times?
You might say Hashem. It might be Shmonetzer. It might be another bigger problem.
You leave out God's name altogether.
You should just know that that's an issue sometimes in certain Siddurim, like in the art school Siddurim, for some reason they translated Hashem's name. Hashem, because of the various sheets how to translate Hashem's name, they just write Hashem, Hashem. If someone davens the Shemana Esrei in the Siddur in English, it's not Yotzei. Because you have to say the English translation Hashem's name.
And there's no anyone.
They don't write it. No, in the art school Siddur they don't. It could be other Siddurim.
So they say
In the Chabad Siddur, they wrote that for Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei, they wrote G-O-D, and for Elikim, they wrote Lord. And there became a big machlokes where a certain Talmud Chacham who had a machlokes all the years, and he tained a Chabad Talmud Chacham, and he tained that there's a problem because Lord is not a Shem Kaddish. Because you say Lord in England, Sir, Lord, it's a big, you get knighted, you become a Lord. A sir.
It's opposite. You say birthday is Lord. Elohim is God.
So this became a discussion. What does it mean? Lord. Lord means he's ruling. Elikim means a ruler.
The capital L is the first one, just like in the
And when you say Lord Edward, what does it mean?
Adoni means Mister. We just changed it to Hebrew to promise. Now it means God.
I'm not bucky in this issue. I'm just telling you and he was timing that you have to write G-O-D by both. Hashem is definitely not Yoitze Shem Hashem. So if you're looking at just to translate, when you want to have a siddur, a lot of times you want to daven, you want to sometimes know what certain words mean. So you give a flip over and you look to the side and that's not an issue. You're just looking to know what it means. You're davening. But if you have someone who's davening straight from the English, right? He's just reading from the English because he doesn't know Hebrew. It's difficult for him. His Shemon Esrei is not Yotzei when you're not saying the translation of Hashem's name. I think they write it in the they write it so that would be okay. You say Hashem's name.
Well, that's the transliteration.
If they would write the transliteration, it's also good. I think they write in the Hakdama to the Siddur that you're not Yotzei.
Wow.
But who reads the Hakdama and who's going to know what to say when you actually do the Shemon?
I have a question. You have to have kavanah when you daven. Most American, I would say 80%, they don't read Hebrew. They don't know the kavanah. We Israel, Baruch Hashem, we Israelis, we know. But most American doesn't know. What's the solution? And I ask people.
We need Rabbi Zahar to start giving Hebrew lessons here.
Yeah.
He's already speaking for the soldiers in Israel. What about us Americans?
I think the chinuch in America, when they
the big problem.
Kids, teach them more Hebrew because
You're right.
They have kavanah for the tefillah.
It's a big problem. Americans struggle with getting over the language barrier. And there's a big struggle in our school system.
Yeah.
Where the first step is where people struggle with the language. So we have to suddenly translate everything.
So to make things
Shaking
better,
Eretz Yisrael.
we force down the Yiddish. If you're worried about let's this is the computer.
So I actually had a chaver, someone, he spoke to his children. His wife happened to be an Israeli. And he made up, they live in America for many years, and they speak to the kids in Hebrew when they're younger. They should all know Hebrew because he said it's the problem. They come to yeshiva, and our children struggle with getting through the system, Pasha getting past the language. Eretz Yisrael, the language is a non-issue. We're just going to learn about the content, the Teichen, so that we have to work now on understanding the Mishnayos and the Gemara. The Teichen, but the language is not an issue. So this is something that has to be dealt with in America, and Rabbi Azar is bringing up an important issue. We should go make a meeting by the Me'etzes Gedei LaTorah,
A speaker.
the Gouda Convention,
Let's say, I don't know.
at the Kinnis HaShluchim, and you're going to bang the hand on the table. It's a problem. Anyways, so
I liked it so much. I mean, like the Matsuda Siddur when it came out, did you have English on one side?
right.
I can't. Oh, come on. When Matsuda came out, it was doing three. There was the first one that did it.
One on top of the other,
Three, yeah, three words.
right?
Three type of
Yeah.
It's
Help-
not
You know what?
helpful.
They did it side by side. But until then, Shlichus don't even ask pregnant.
You know why chinuch is very, very important?
What were you saying? Oh,
Yeah.
No, I want to say something that's very effective.
Alice, yeah, but even in Chabad, there's no such thing as Hillel, no Rabbi, Chassidim. A lot of times in the Kriya Torah, there's a difference in what it means.
yeah.
And the Elul is Michoel, right? What do you do along with all this? I'm not criticizing, right? Where does it start? Where does it end?
See, they weren't addictive too much.
That.
Rabbi, chinuch, why is chinuch very, very important? When I was in the Telegram, so they took us once and show us how they learn the Arabs, the Muslim, how they learn math. They tell you today, our commander killed 2 Israeli soldiers, and tomorrow another 2. How many is together? They give them chinuch when they're young to head the Jews. Chinuch is very important. This is why I bring this.
Yeah. So, L'maisa Rabbi say,
But the idea is addicted to repetitive masculine, right? Was that the whole? Is it again now?
the Shabbos Tshuva, Siv Dalid, the Shabbos Tshuva, which is sometimes called Shabbos Shuva, the Shabbos Tshuva. Shabbos Tshuva referring that it's the Shabbos during the Sarasimi Tshuva. Shabbos Shuva means regarding to the Haftarah, which starts off Shuva Yisrael Ad Hashem Alekecha. B'cheinim Chal Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippurim B'Shabbos. Oymar Shliach Tzibur Bracha Min Shabbos Shv'al Shabbos HaKamel HaKadosh. You usually say Akel HaKadosh in the Mein Sheva, Friday night. However, now we say Melech HaKadosh. However, the Chaysim, the Chasima, Shabbos Levad. Ein Emas Galoi Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippurim. Even when Shabbos falls out of Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, we don't mention in this bracha, we don't say Baruch Atah Hashem, the Kadesh, HaShabbos, Baruch HaMalkeinu Emes. We don't put it all together. We just say Mekadesh HaShabbos, and that's it.
What's the main
What's-
show? What show is that? Main show.
Main Shabbos like this. Friday,
Oh, that's main show? What, seven?
Hakel
seven-
HaKadosh.
There's 7 what?
Instead of saying Hakel HaKadosh, you say Melech. Why is it called Mein Shabbos?
Yeah, I'm wondering. Where you get the
Ma'ariv,
other
how
7?
come we don't have Chazaras HaShatz by Ma'ariv?
Quick question.
Shachris, Mincha, what about Ma'ariv? Ma'ariv is originally Rishus.
Yeah.
So we're not, the whole Chazaras HaShatz is originally L'hoitzi, someone who's not Baki. We didn't go Akadei Kach with Ma'ariv, which is originally was Rishus. Friday night, because the shuls then were located out in the city in the fields, and there was no lighting, and it wasn't like it was today, so it was dangerous for them to walk by themselves back. So they would walk together out of shul, walk home back into the city themselves.
Yeah.
So but how happens if someone was davening Shemona Esrei a little longer, that he'd be left alone in shul, and all his friends would go out. So Chazal said, Friday night we should have a mini Chazaras HaShatz. Not a complete one, a mini version, Me'ain. Me'ain Sheva. Because how many brachas do we say on Shabbos in Shemona Esrei? 7, not 18, 7.
7.
So you're going to say a Me'ain Sheva, a mini version of the Sheva. You have all the 7 brachas are in the Nusach. You look inside the Nusach.
That would be interesting to see.
You can see,
Okay,
take a siddur over here, but you have all the Lashonis, Magin Aves, right? All of them are there. Mechayim Meisim, Mamaroi, Kel HaKadosh, Melech HaKadosh. Melech HaKadosh.
In order to have more time, give
Exactly.
opportunity.
So
for
there's
people
a
to
whole
go back
main
home.
Sheva. There's a whole main Sheva.
Oh,
So
that
comes along the Alter Rebbe is letting us know that although Shabbos can fall out on on Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah,
You can make a Melech HaKadosh.
at the same Melech HaKadosh, but when you Messiah the bracha, the Chasima stays the same on Makadosh Shabbos. You don't mention that it's a Shana Yom Kippur in the Chasima.
Why not?
Oh, he doesn't explain here, but in Hilchas Shabbos he explains because since this bracha was only instituted for because of Shabbos, so therefore we don't change it when it comes to Yom Tov. We keep it the same nusach.
Everything go after the Chatim. That's the thing.
No, not in this bracha me'in sheva. We don't change it ever. Only in the actual Shemoneh Esrei, you're right. We add in, but we don't add in to the me'in sheva.
Oh, you mean like the rough Friday?
Friday night that we say after Vayichulu. The first bracha we say Koine Shemayim V'Aretz, like then we go Magen Aves, Mechayeh Beisim, Hakel HaKadosh. So there you got the first three brachas. Then we talk about Shabbos, which Shabbos is the middle bracha, right? Hakadosh Shabbos and Baruch Shvi, it's all about, that's the middle bracha. Then we have the last three brachas. How do we have the last three brachas? We say Kel HaYdois. We say Adoin HaShalom, which is Sim Shalom. Oh, we say Noi de Lefanam Nava Yibir Fachem Neide Shulchan Tava, which is what it say and Moedim. We have Kel HaYdois, is the Brichas Haydah. Adoin HaShalom, Sim Shalom. So we say a little bit of all the seven, and we finish off Mekadosh Shabbos.
Except on Pesach.
Now, even though today, right, except on Pesach, correct?
Why is that?
It's a Pi Kabbalah.
Wow.
Pi Kabbalah. There's a Machloikis in Mekubalim, but we follow the minhag to follow the Mekubalim and say you don't say this tonight in Pesach, because all the reasons that we're discussing here now, in Halacha, are all what's called Nigla the Torah. Nista the Torah has different reasons. The deeper reasons why we do everything.
Could it be?
And there's deeper reasons why we do things, and based on those deeper reasons, sometimes there could be differences between the Nista and the Nigla.
So you don't say because of the Greek or something. Say somebody can say the Shofar and say.
Oh.
I have to look it up.
Without the side least they make Kiddush and Shul.
Oh.
I have to look it up. I one time wrote about during
Everybody's going to a
during COVID. I wrote about this thing. I have to look into it again. Made some research then during COVID because it was negaya for all those backyard minyanim and porch minyanim. They wanted should they say the birchas mein sheva because they weren't in shul. It wasn't sakin only in shul. If you're privately at home in your house, you just say yichul. You don't say it. So the shayla, what do you do with these minyanim? So Lani is daiti when the shul is closed and no one's davening in shul. Thus is the minyan. Thus is the shul. That's the shul.
Somebody makes a minyan.
Imagine you came to shul Friday night, and for some reason the shul was locked. The gabbai went away for Shabbos Nachamu, and the gabbayim all left. Like a lot of shuls, all the gabbayim left Shabbos Nachamu. They leave everyone stranded. They come to the door is locked. What do? You're davening in the chutz of the Beis HaKnesset. You have to say it. This is the shul.
If you daven in someone's house, they make a makeshift minyan, you don't say.
But if they make it, well, the question is, if they make it.
So the makeshift minyan depends. If you're doing something kavuadik, it's there for if in kavua minyan, like let's say on the block, you have a Friday night minyan on your block, which is there kavua. Even if it's not a shul, it's a minyan kavua is like a Beis HaKnesset. It has to be kavua. It's kavua. Api Kabbalah, it actually says that you could say it even when it's not kavua.
Wow. Oh, it's like.
So I think a lot of Chassidish, oilam, I think they will say by Sheva Brachas in the house, that I think they will say it because Api Kabbalah, you could say it even when you're not the Beis HaKnesset. And I think Api Nigel also there's other svaras, but halacha you shouldn't.
But you don't, you say without the drop.
No. They say the whole thing.
That's not what I was for.
No, not be Yechidus, with a minyan. With a minyan, but not a minyan kavua. You're right, 100%. If you're Yechidus, you don't say it at all. No shaila about it. You could say it, yeah, you could say Magen Avis, but you can't say the. You don't have to say Magen Avis, but you could say Magen Avis. Nothing wrong, but you can't say the bracha.
So what happens?
you're only a young.
You could say Vayichol.
What?
You could say.
You have to have somebody else.
You could. You could.
You have to
Good
have
luck.
somebody-
Neshama Yisera. You think it.
L'chatchila you could.
It's a Magen Avraham also.
Yeah, you can say Magen Avraham.
Say-
You don't say the bracha.
Just don't say the bracha before and after.
You say Magen Avraham.
You don't have no chiv to say it, but you know.
No, what he
I
was saying
think one
before.
of the kids, the house, if only the female members in the house, we made by a pool, there's no way to.
I'm telling you, this thing in the Eidos is not ma'akiv. It does not say in Shulchan Aruch you need to say Vayichol with Eidos.
Then why is it you see people, they have in the wrong Shemoneh, they take somebody else?
Right? There is such a thing. I've seen it in when I was in yeshiva also, and but you know, this is such a minig, but it's not ma'akiv. It's such a minig where many people they after Shemoneh Esrei they'll go over to someone and say with him Vayichol together. Like you're right because of the Eidos, but it's not ma'akiv. Who? Not to do it.
Not to
Rob
say
said
someone
that.
else. Ah.
Rabbi
I think the prevailing meaning of Chabad is not to, but I did see in Chabad yeshivas when I was in yeshiva, there were many times Bachram that did do this.
But do it from home.
But later on, I heard from my Rosh Koilel, the Halloween Kronites, he said the minig here is do that. Like he was like, we don't do
He
that.
said no. He said no.
He said no. He said he doesn't think that's the minig.
And before,
He doesn't think that's the minig.
and before,
But many people do this.
Rabbi Klein.
Some people do it. Rabbi Merazov explained why you shouldn't do it.
No.
You're not saying he the version doesn't need to
So what is it?
He says the next verse.
I mean, by Kiddush, we're not nobody saying along. You're saying Kiddush. We're eating by you. We're not saying along with you. So yeah.
Now,
But this is what Rabbi Klein was saying. So what are we talking people? What you wrote up on saying the main Sheva? So in the bungalow, we'll go away for 2 months. It's only 2 months, and then back to the big city.
kavua, but it's kavua.
In this 2 months, it's Kabul.
They all say it. They're here. They're there. Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. Some people. They're there. Pesach.
That's
Who knows?
30, 40 years
Yeah,
ago.
that's
No,
true.
no.
Well, the houses look a lot. They don't look like shacks anymore. They look like houses. So. Yeah, it's a different. So your days are where they live in little shacks, and people today have nice houses there, and they're running away to go to their nice summer homes. It's a different world today. Yeah, I know someone who goes away every other week. They go up, and many people they go up. They have a yanim there. They say in Monticello now there's 100 families living there. They have a cheder
Oh, yeah, man.
all year long. People want to. It's hard to live in they can't get a house here, so they move away there.
It's cheaper.
You can't afford a house.
And you can get Section 8 up there easier. Right? You know the deal.
Who's open all year? Fire.
Fire.
That's a store in Monticello.
No, it's in Woodbridge.
Yeah, Landau's I think is open a lot of the years in South Fallsburg, and
The whole year, Lando?
I don't know if it's open the whole year. South Fallsburg always has they have the store in South Fallsburg is open. Visions has their store. There's plenty of places open.
Oh.
Upstate is a different tkufa now. Different matziv. Not Fleischmann's. It's not like Namolik.
Yeah.
Yeah, so right, they go to the hotel for a Shabbos. And just
Right?
Shabbos.
Yeah, then you shouldn't say it.
Oh, wow.
But I'm just telling you, you shouldn't be moich anyone says it because there are many that are api Kabbalah. You could say it even when it's not a meaning kavua, and some people are noyig that way. Some chassidish kehilas are noyig that way.
But when it started from
Someone told me personally, a chashav tamachachim in his house when he makes a Shabbos Sheva brachas and he makes a meeting with his whole family that Friday night. He says it.
He says,
It's just what?
But some people do it, but api halacha, it's not a mock. There's no mockamos. Api halacha, it says it should be a minyan kavua, shul or minyan kavua.
but if it started in the fields, then in the field itself was that the
No, it was a shul. It was a shul. The shuls were situated there. I don't know why they made the shuls there.
Little small shack, small show in the middle of the field.
They daven in a shul in the fields. In a chanami, but they daven in a shul in the fields.
wasn't the field open?
No. That's more like, that sounds like the
Big shelter.
Kabbalists more.
Uh-huh.
So like the Kabbalists, the Arizal stood on a mountain and he
Shas.
made with his hands at the sunset. It was a whole seder of how he did the Kabbalah Shabbos. Went out to the field. But the Gemara talks about how they walked out to the field, right? But
Right.
most people went to a shul in the field. That's why we say Boi Kala Boi Chala. They went to greet Shabbos, right? To greet the Shechina. So we don't go we don't go outside. We are in shul. We turn around and we greet. We say Boi Kala Boi Shabbos. But then they would literally go out to go out. But they davened Shemoneh Esrei. They went to shul. They davened the proper Shemoneh Esrei. In shul. Ma'ariv was in shul, but the Kabbalah Shabbos was outside. Kabbalah Shabbos was outside. Rabbi, I think we should break for Ma'ariv. And Mitzvah Hashem, we will continue next week. Mitzvah Hashem.
You have to come now every week.
Breathe every week.
Bully Neder, bully Shua, Matan Neder. You're talking about Matan Neder.
Shekoyach everyone for joining. Thank you. Pinchas, thank you.
It's all his fault.
Sei gesund.
Not only tonight, we're having next year.
Kol tov.
Every night we have show. Only Thursday.